topic that repeats itself rather often is some Linux distributions planning on or already dropping support for executing 32-bit software on 64-bit systems. This often leads to community backlash and sometimes causes distribution maintainers to step back. However, the trend is clear: 32-bit software will gradually vanish from many Linux distributions. Even today, 7-bit distributions do not support running 32-bit software already. A common use case raised in this discussion is how this affects gaming on Linux, since Steam is a 32-bit software itself as well as older games. Hi, my name is Vortex Acherontic, and in this video we will explore ways to run 32-bit software on 64-bit only Linux distributions and also clear up some common misconceptions. The underlying issue. Linux distributions try to drop 32-bit support to lower their maintenance burden. Providing execution support for 32-bit applications means shipping every possible dependencies those applications might need. It also means patching and fixing old software if new vulnerabilities arise. Often upstream developers do no longer maintain 32-bit versions themselves, which increases the workload on distribution maintainers. Also, that duplicates work because each distribution must do it independently. The reason to drop 32-bit support is not just for freeing up resources and time, but they also include improving system security. It's often not enough to simply flip a switch and the software will build and work in 32-bit. It also requires extra work and patches. Maintaining long abandoned packages that haven't seen a release in years opens the door to more problems. Therefore, distributions often choose to drop this burden, which means older 32-bit software, including games, may stop working on those distros. Flatpak. The easiest and most robust way to run 32-bit software is via Flatpak. This removes the duplicate effort to package 32-bit libraries for every distribution because Flatpak runtimes are shared across distros and Flatpak applications, including dedicated 32-bit compatibility runtimes. Flatpak handles 32-bit runtime without requiring 32-bit dependencies on the host system. Everything is managed by Flatpak itself. Furthermore, Flatpak runs applications inside a sandbox, isolating them from the host and limiting access to system resources. This can be beneficial because many 32-bit applications are no longer maintained and may have known security issues. If an application needs access blocked by the sandbox, users can't grant additional permissions using Flatpak overrides, either from the terminal or with graphical tools like Flatseal or the KDE Plasma built-in application permission screen. If you are unfamiliar with Flatpak, see my dedicated Flatpak beginner's guide. Flatpak Steam. One prominent, still maintained 32-bit application is Steam. Steam is vital for gaming on Linux, no doubt. Removing 32-bit support would apparently break it. Therefore, running Steam via Flatpak might be advised. Note that Flatpak Steam on FlatHub is not an official Valve product. Valve's officially supported Linux package is a Debian package steam.deb from the Steam website. However, most users run a distribution-maintained Steam package which apparently is not backed by Valve either. Therefore, for most users the Flatpak from FlatHub is comparable to the distro package. Furthermore, all native packages and the Flatpak act mainly as a launcher. They download the actual Steam client from Valve into the user's home directory and run it. The reason distributions ship a Steam package is to pull in additional dependencies, so Steam runs. Flatpak already includes those dependencies via runtimes, including 32-bit support. Running Steam as a Flatpak can be as good or even better. Not everything is a Flatpak. When a required app isn't available as a Flatpak, users can still run them via Lutris available on FlatHub. Lutris not just allows for running arbitrary software, but also bundles the 32-bit compatibility Flatpak runtimes. Install and open Lutris, add a new game and choose locally installed game. Select Linux as a runner and give it a name. Point it to the main executable and set the working directory to the directory containing it. If the application ships additional libraries, add them to the LD preload section in Lutris so the application can find them. Now we can run 32-bit games or applications via Flatpak even if the software isn't a Flatpak by itself. 32-bit Windows software. Running Windows software on Linux is done using Wine or Proton, both of which are 64-bit applications and are not affected by this. They do run 32-bit and even 16-bit Windows software on 64-bit Linux already. Just like Windows, they use Wow64, Windows on Windows 64, to run old software on modern systems. Distrobox. If Flatpak or Lutris doesn't suffice and you need to run an installer or cannot obtain pre-built 32-bit binaries, consider Distrobox. Distrobox lets you run other Linux distributions inside containers on your host machine without installing them. That gives access to distributions that still provide 32-bit support. First, find which distro offers 32-bit execution support and whether they need configuration. Then enter the Distrobox, run the 32-bit installer, install the software and export it to the host system, including a desktop launcher. You can install Distrobox from your distribution's package manager. For graphical management, try BoxBuddy, DistroShelf or Container with a K. All three are available as Flatpaks on FlatHub. Create a new container with your chosen tool, wait for the setup to finish, then open the container shell and run the game or application installer or install a package directly like a steam.deb file. BoxBuddy and DistroShelf support exporting installed applications to your host system so they appear in your applications launcher. For a container or without a graphical tool, run distrobox-export-a followed by the name of your app or game from the Distrobox shell. For binaries we have to use Distrobox shell in all cases. Here we run the command distrobox-export-b followed by the path to the binary. Now you will be able to run the software by just calling the binary file from our host terminal. Installing 32-bit libraries on the host. If there is no Flatpak, Lutris won't work and Distrobox isn't suitable, you can add 32-bit support back to your host system as a last resort. The exact steps depend on your distribution. Because these instructions change over time, consult your distribution's documentation for the current procedure. Be aware that restoring 32-bit support may not be possible indefinitely. Distributions can remove 32-bit libraries from their repositories at any time, forcing users to rely on third-party repositories. But before adding untrusted third-party package sources, consider switching to Flatpaks. If no other option exists or works, some Linux distributions deliberately continue to maintain 32-bit support. Switching to one of those distributions may be necessary in this case. Outro. I hope you found this video helpful and that it eases concerns if your favorite Linux distro drops 32-bit support. Thank you for watching and feel free to ask follow-up questions. Have a great day.